Bourbon County Stout is a standard in the industry for the category that it's in. It was the original at what it does. The balance of the beer, in my opinion, and I'm honestly not just saying this because I work here, is second to none. It's excellent, the way the whole thing comes out in the end. The importance of it for us, in addition, was that it was one of the original major innovations that we had come out of Goose Island.
We integrate the brewing of BCS into our schedule 2 to 3 times a week now. It's a pretty big chunk of that time just because of the labor-intensive and time-intensive piece of it. It's not an easy beer to brew in the brew house, and it's not an easy beer to ferment in the cellar because it's so strong. We don't add any sugar to this beer, it's all malt. So it's a lot of hand loading bags of malt into our little bag hopper, into our mash mixer, which pretty much maxes it out. You can open it up and it's got about this much freeboard from the top before it overflows. In this case, we have 2 mashes that contribute to 1 kettle full volume, and then bring it up to the lauter tun and running it off. I'd call it a first runnings brew. The wort that comes off is very high strength. As soon as it starts to curve off in strength, we pretty much have what we need. So it's a very inefficient brew that way. And then in order to get that gravity up to where we need it to be, it takes about 4 hours of boiling. And it takes a long time because of the slow process in the brew house to actually fill the tank. So fermentation begins after the first couple turns go in the tank, and then there's 4 more coming after that. And with all that available sugar, the yeast just go off. So you get this very rowdy, somewhat rapid fermentation, but really, really rowdy. We have less than half the tank full. We'll have excessive amount of foam over at High Kreuzen. So you end up with this really rich, big body in the beer. That really sets the backbone to be able to support not only the high alcohol, but the intense bourbon character that we pick up in the barrel. We use the same care that we've used since the beginning for it. I think people want to make sure that it goes well. They want to hit their specs like any brew, but this one's tricky because the boil is so long and you're evaporating off so much water to condense it down into the strength that we need that you have to be really aware and make sure that you're getting it boiled down to a point right where we want it. And it's a huge beer to ferment. So anybody that's in the brewing industry knows that making a beer of this strength is always something you need to pay close attention to. It's kind of cool that we've come to this point where a beer that's so difficult to make and so labor intensive on the front end and through fermentation is something we do regularly. So we've got it pretty well in hand at this point. You know, do we still get excited to brew it? Of course. You know, there are some folks who think that the base beer is not that exciting. It's like the beer hasn't reached its full potential. Without the recipe being so robust, you wouldn't have such a nice process through aging and such a nice end product as well. We have a high demand for this beer, and we're trying to make as much of it as we can. The Stevia area helps us to do that. We're more efficient. We can move the beer throughout the brewery just fine and get it onto a sanitary tanker, move it over there, and then we can fill a lot more barrels in a single day. We can do it more efficiently, more safely. It's great to be able to make more of it. So the efficiency piece goes up. So that's really where we win. You know, when you have somebody who tastes this beer and they say, "That's a great beer, where can I get it?" And I have to look at them and say, "You can't?" It's kind of like telling somebody there's no Santa Claus, you know? Maintaining the quality, maintaining the traditions, not changing anything. We like it. I don't look at that beer and say, I wish it was a little more of this or a little more of that. It's Bourbon County Stout, you know? As far as, you know, the amount of intensity and labor and all the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it over here, there's a lot that happens in the barrel as well. And one of the hardest parts about Bourbon County Stout is waiting for it.